Hi, my name is Carla Mayer. Thank you for joining me today for the LifeSketch class. I want to tell you a little bit about what you can expect in this class and what we hope to accomplish while we're working on it. First, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my background. I worked in publishing for 20 years, and for the years that I was working in publishing, I was often working on my own family genealogy. After I left publishing, I decided I wanted to focus on doing genealogy more seriously and began to work professionally, helping other families learn about their family history. It's a fun process. I absolutely love it. But one of the things I realized in the process of helping other families is that I would do the genealogy research of locating records, let's say birth records, death records, marriage records, things that would give us insight into what a family journey had really been like. And those documents were really important. But you know what I always heard when I worked with clients? I would present them the documents and we'd talk about it, and inevitably somebody would say, oh, I wish I had asked my grandmother about whatever, right? Or I wish I had asked my uncle. My uncle knew stuff about the story and I wish I had asked him. But unfortunately, a lot of times people have waited too long and they aren't able to ask the relatives that have passed. And so what I really wanted to focus on with this project is making sure that you capture everything that's available for you to know, both from the family members that are still living and from your own memory. Remember, the grandparents that you remember from your childhood are the great-grandparents for your children and the great-great-grandparents for their children. So you really are the bridge. If you can write down stories of your own life, stories of the relatives that you've met, stories that you've heard about the family, this adds so much more color than just documents that you can present to somebody, right? And it's something that often gets left unaddressed. So I've identified 4 reasons why I think that this often gets left undone in writing our family memories. And I've designed LifeSketch to address those issues specifically. So the first hurdle that most of us fall into when we begin to think about writing a family history is that we start with too big of a project, right? We think somehow we have to write a book or tell a huge 100-page story. And that ends up feeling too big, and so we feel intimidated by it. And really, in life, who has time to just stop everything and write a book if that's not what you do for a living, right? So because of that, LifeSketch really focuses on how to make this process modular. You're going to work on telling very short stories. They might be a paragraph, they might be a page, they might be 3 pages. And we're going to build brick by brick the stories that you have about your family. So LifeSketch is modular. The other thing that you're going to see with LifeSketch is that we can adapt LifeSketch to suit your style. Another obstacle that I've seen about why people don't do writing down family history is because they don't feel good at some part of it, or the way they think about approaching it doesn't seem interesting to them. If you like to sit down at a computer and write, I happen to be one of those people, I like to do that. But if you're not one of those people, then sitting down to write a family story sounds like really awful. You don't want to do that. But you know what can be a lot more fun for people that don't like to sit down and work at a computer is to sit down with somebody that you love and a beverage of choice and talk to them about family history. You can write down things that they say, you can record what they say. There's so many ways to capture family history. And so LifeSketch is really focused on finding the way that works for you so that you can make the contribution that is what feels natural to you and something that you want to do. I mean, if you think about it, everybody needs all kinds of things to collect family history, right? We need to collect photographs. Somebody needs to be able to scan those. Somebody needs to know how to file those in computers and create backups and do all that kind of thing. Other people need to write. Other people need to collect heirlooms in the family. There's so many ways you can contribute to your family history. And so LifeSketch is really designed to help you figure out what's the best way for you to contribute what you know about your family so that it makes it down to the next generation. Another reason that people often don't write down their family history is because they don't know where to start. It's a big job. How am I just going to sit down today and say, let me tell you everything I know about my family? That's a really, really big thing to ask of people, right? So what LifeSketch does is it will help you target some places to start. We've got great prompts and questions we can ask you. And we help you identify those stories that aren't just important, but that are meaningful. Because another thing that can happen is when you start writing you might end up getting bogged down in some part of the family history that isn't interesting to you, and then you stop writing. So we're going to talk very specifically about how to choose stories to write about that connect to your heart, because if they connect to your heart, it's probably going to come out in the story and connect to the heart of the people that read it. And then the last thing that LifeSketch I hope will do for all of us is that it will help us set aside time to do what's important, because it's not always urgent. So writing family stories is important, right? We know that. And yet very often when we're born into a family, we kind of assume that family is always going to exist, right? And then by the time we realize that that's not true and we've lost somebody, in a way, a whole family library has been lost with that person too. And so it's important that we find a way to take this process that's important of finding out about our family history from the people that can do more than just present facts and documents, but actually add color and context. And a very important part of genealogy is not just what shows up in the documents, but why. Why did they do that? Those kinds of pieces of information are often available when we take time to ask the questions and to search our own memories of what we know about our family history. And so what I hope LifeSketch will do is put this whole idea of family history on the front burner for you, because it will never be urgent, but it's always going to be important. And so just the fact of starting this class is you're putting it on the front burner, and we're going to make it happen through LifeSketch. Now, if you are interested in learning more about genealogy, we will cover some basics on how to start your genealogy journey. If this is something that you are already doing, that's fine. This isn't intended to really necessarily be a class on genealogy, even though you will learn a lot of good tips about genealogy and the process. But we'll start you on the journey, but there are other types of resources that are available to you to learn how to be a genealogist. So that's not the focus of this class. We are going to talk about writing. I worked with writers for 20 years, and I've learned a few things, hopefully, along the way. And I'm going to pass those secrets on to you of what I've learned about what the writing process is like and what you can do to make it easier on yourself. But again, this isn't intended to be a writing class, right? You have other resources if you want to write the great American novel. What we're going to focus on in this class is giving you, for the average person, the quick, down and dirty tips that are going to help you write a more engaging story, because when you write a more engaging story, you're going to have readers that are more engaged, and that's what we all want, right? Writing is a tool. If you learn how to use it well, then people are going to get drawn into your story. So we will talk about that a little bit through this process. So welcome to LifeSketch. I really hope this is a meaningful journey for you. I hope you are able to record stories of people in your family and your own stories, and I hope we can help you preserve them in a way that they get passed on for generations to come.